Hi, I'm Scott. I'm 32, a security guard, and 2 weeks ago, my mother laughed in my face and called me useless in front of the whole family. I smiled, looked her dead in the eyes and said, "It feels great. I just stopped paying your rent." Her face drained like a bad faucet. My dad choked on his beer and shouted, "Rent? What rent?" And that was the moment I knew everything had just changed. Let me rewind. It was supposed to be a regular Sunday dinner: cheap wine, plastic tablecloth, casserole with too much salt, and the smell of tired people pretending things are fine. I brought a pie from the grocery store. Store brand, 2 for $8. I grabbed the receipt by accident with the bag. Kept it in my back pocket. The door was unlocked, like always. Inside, football murmuring in the background, my sister Jenna scrolling TikTok with her fake nails tapping against the screen, my dad already laughing at his own joke, and my mom in the kitchen giving the chicken the evil eye like it personally offended her. I set down the pie, said hi, and went to wash my hands. And that's when it started. No build-up. No tension simmering. Just my mom looking up, drying her hands on a towel that had seen better centuries, and saying, "So, Scott, how does it feel to be useless?" She said it with a smile. That weaponized kind of smile. Like she was doing stand-up at my expense. My fork tapped the plate. Jenna snorted without looking up. "It's giving mall cop," she muttered. Dad chuckled and added, "He's sensitive." Like it was a fact the whole room should know. Then came the tag team move. "Your sister's planning a trip," my mom said, casually stabbing her fork into the chicken. "We all chip in. Family does that, you know." They wanted money. Again. But this time, they brought jokes instead of a request. Like calling me useless was some charming appetizer before the main course of guilt. Mom even said, "We've carried you long enough. Time to carry us for once." I stared at the pie. Still in its plastic container. 2 for $8. Dumb detail. And all I could think was, I've been carrying you for years. Quietly. Constantly. And now you want to humiliate me while still expecting the handout? So I smiled. And I said, calm as a sleeping cat, "It feels great. I just stopped paying your rent." Mom blinked. Dad choked. Jenna's jaw actually dropped like she forgot how mouths work. And that's when I stood up, walked to the kitchen counter, pulled out the receipt for the pie, and laid it flat on the table like it was Exhibit A. Then I said, "Don't worry, Mom. This one's on me." Like the last 14 months of rent, the last dozen utility bills, and the gift cards I labeled groceries so Dad wouldn't get mad. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just presented. Dad sputtered, "Wait, rent? What rent?" And I slid open my folder. Yes, I brought a folder, and laid out the bank statements, the eviction notice I intercepted, the Venmo transfers labeled "Electric school trip, breaks again, just this once." The room went dead quiet. You could hear the fridge hum and the neighbor's dog 2 floors down. And then, finally, after years of swallowing my tongue and writing silent checks, I said one word. No. No to the guilt. No to the lies. No to pretending that what I do doesn't matter just because it isn't photogenic or Instagram-worthy. Jenna said, "You're being dramatic." Mom said, "You can't just cut us off." Dad said, "This is how you repay us." And I just looked at my hands, the same hands that iron my uniform every Sunday night and hold back drunk men at 3 a.m., and said, "I repay everything. That's the problem." Then I grabbed my pie. Left the receipts. Walked out the door. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like a walking debit card. I felt like a man. Like a son finally saying, "Enough." The text started before I even made it to the parking lot. "Come back. Let's talk. You're overreacting. Family doesn't keep score." And my favorite. "This isn't the Scott we raised." I sat in my car, pie on the passenger seat, and laughed. Not the good kind. The kind that sounds like something cracked open. Because if they really believed that, if they truly thought this version of me was foreign, it meant they hadn't been paying attention for a long, long time. I didn't go home. I went to a 24-hour diner across town, ordered burnt coffee and eggs I didn't want, and opened my notebook. Page 1 still said, "Boundaries." Under it, I finally started writing. No more rent. No more. Just this once. No more guilt payments disguised as love. I flipped to the next page and wrote, "I am not a safety net. I am a person." That week was quiet in the loudest way possible. My phone blew up. Group chat lit like a forest fire. Cousins I hadn't seen since 2012 suddenly had thoughts. Aunt Lisa sent a long text that started with, "We all sacrifice," and ended with a screenshot of a Bible verse about honoring your parents. I typed out a reply. Does honoring them mean funding their poor decisions until I lose my own apartment? Then I deleted it. Instead, I wrote, I love my parents. I also love having heat in the winter. Balance. Muted the chat for a week. On Wednesday, my mom showed up at my building. Front desk called me at 9:40 p.m. There's a woman here asking for you. She says she's your mother. I came down. She stood in the lobby, arms folded, jaw tight. You embarrassed us. I didn't flinch. You called me useless. I said. You turned a family dinner into a roast, and now you're upset because I decided to stop donating to the show. She shook her head. You made your father cry. I blinked. You made me skip meals. That stopped her. Just for a second. I looked her in the eye. I ate rice for 4 days last month so your lights would stay on. You're welcome. She softened for a breath. Then the armor clicked back in. You could have just talked to us. I did, I said. For a year. Quietly. Kindly. Every time I sent money instead of a confrontation, that was me talking. You just liked that version of my voice better. She turned to leave. Before the door closed behind her, she said, We're still your family. And I said, Then act like it. Back upstairs, I sat on my couch and stared at the spot where my boots always go. I realized something. They hadn't just taken money. They'd taken space. Mental space. Emotional space. The kind you don't realize you're losing until one day you can breathe again and think, oh, that's what air feels like. I spent that weekend putting together my own financial apology letter. No cash, no flowers, just a spreadsheet titled, Every Time You Said I Was Useless and I Still Paid Anyway. The total at the bottom made my stomach flip. Over $14,000. 14 grand in quiet rescues. No fanfare. No thank you. Just assumed silence. And here they were, offended, because the ATM finally spoke up. I didn't send the spreadsheet. Not yet. But I kept it. Because some numbers are just for you. Sunday dinner rolled around again. Same apartment. Same smells. Same cast of characters minus one security guard with a backbone and a locked wallet. I didn't go. Instead, I turned off my phone, made real food in my own kitchen, steak, potatoes, nothing from a can, and ate like someone who mattered. Like someone who didn't have to prove his worth one direct deposit at a time. At 7:24 p.m., Jenna sent a photo in the group chat. Just a shot of the dinner table with 3 plates and a caption. Missing someone? Or nah? I didn't reply. At 8:01, my dad called. I let it ring. He left a voicemail. Son, this isn't how we fix things. Call your mother. She's crying. I played it twice. He didn't say sorry. Didn't say I was right. Just said she was crying. Like her tears were more important than my exhaustion. I sat back on the couch and looked at the pie dish still sitting in the sink from the week before. Empty. Crumb-covered. Useless like me. Only not really. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't the one scraping by. They were. And the thing about emotional addicts is this, once the supply runs dry, they don't get reflective. They get louder. On Monday, my mom posted on Facebook. Some children forget the hands that fed them. But God sees all. Blessed are the grateful. 11 likes. 1 prayer emoji. 0 direct mentions. 100% aimed at me. On Tuesday, my sister posted a TikTok with the caption. When your brother decides to be dramatic and forgets family matters. She lip-synced to some audio about betrayal and fake people. Got 6 likes. 1 comment from a girl I barely knew in high school. Tell him to grow up. I screenshotted it. Not to keep. Just to remind myself, this is what it looks like when people try to turn your healing into their narrative. Wednesday morning, I did something petty. I called the power company. I removed my card from their automatic billing system. The guy on the phone said, Just confirming, you no longer want to be financially responsible for 442 Hill Street? Correct, I said. Let the actual tenants handle it. Will do. Click. I sat back and waited. The text came 3 days later. Scott, why is the internet out? I replied with 1 sentence. Ask whoever owns the house. No reply. That night, Jenna tried calling. I picked up. She didn't say hi. She said, This isn't like you. No, I said. It's the real me. You just didn't notice because I was too busy playing the version you all liked better. You think you're the only one who has it hard? No, I said. I just think I'm the only one who is footing the bill for it. She scoffed. You think you're better than us now? No, I said again. I just think I finally respect myself enough to stop getting stepped on. Long pause. Then she said it. The thing I hadn't heard yet. I told Mom you'd cave by Friday. That hurt more than any insult. Because it meant my pain had become a game. A bet. A countdown. I hung up. Didn't yell. Didn't explain. I just went to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and looked at the empty pie plate again. Then I took it to the trash. Not out of anger. But because sometimes you have to throw out the thing they think you'll keep forever. Day 10 of no contact, and the temperature dropped. Not the weather, the house. My parents' house. The one I used to patch together every time the heat clicked off midwinter because the landlord forgot, and Dad couldn't deal with it right now. I got a text at 6:17 a.m. while I was halfway through my first lobby patrol. Scott, the heat's out. Can you call someone? No, good morning. No, hope you're well. Just a demand in disguise. I stared at the screen while the elevator squealed its usual song. Then I wrote back. I'm not your property manager. Call your landlord. 3 minutes later. It's 42 degrees in here. I didn't answer. You'd think that was the breaking point. It wasn't. The breaking point came the next night. I got home at 7:08 a.m., shoes off, half dead, burrito from the gas station in one hand, when my building buzzer rang. I walked to the intercom. Pushed the button. Who is it? Silence. Then, it's your father. I opened the door because I didn't want my neighbors involved. He stepped in like he owned the hallway. His jacket was too light for the weather, breath fogging in the air, and he had that look, the one where he acts like everything's calm but his jaw is a pressure cooker. You think this is funny? He said, not even waiting to get fully inside. No, I said, leaning against the wall. I think it's predictable. You left your mother in a freezing apartment. No, I said again. I left my bank card out of your problems. There's a difference. He pointed at me like I was a suspect. You've got a good job. A stable life. You're not married. No kids. You think that money is just for you? Yes, I said. Yes, I do. That's literally how jobs work. His face flushed. Not just with anger, confusion. Like I'd spoken a foreign language. You're not a man, he said quietly. Not a real one. Real men take care of their family. I tilted my head. Real men don't let their family sink so far into denial they think they're owed someone else's paycheck. You're cold. No, I said. I'm tired. That hit him harder than any yelling could have. I stepped aside and opened the door again. You can leave now. He didn't. He looked around. Saw the neat apartment, the ironed shirts hanging by the door, the boots aligned under the bench. You really live like this? He muttered. Yeah, I said. I really do. He stared at the little plant on the table. The one I'd named later. You used to come by. Fix things. Help. I used to starve quietly, too. He didn't move. So I did. I stepped forward, picked up his keys from the entry table, because of course he'd thrown them there like he lived here, and handed them back. Then I said the real sentence. The one I hadn't even known was coming. You can't guilt someone into going broke for you and call it love. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Then turned around and left without another word. I stood there, staring at the empty doorway, and felt my legs shake, not from fear, but release. Because I had finally said what needed saying. And I hadn't shattered. I had stood. The fallout came in waves. First, a text from Mom. Your father came home shaking. He's never been this upset. What's happening to you? Not how are you? Not let's talk. Just a guilt grenade with a hint of prayer hands. I didn't answer. Then came the group chat revival. Fam Jam, that cursed digital graveyard of memes and manipulation, suddenly roared back to life. Cousin Tara. Heard there's drama. Family needs love, not silence. Aunt Diane. Your mom's a saint. You're breaking her heart. Jenna, of course. Scott's having a midlife crisis. Ignore him. He'll come crawling back once he remembers we're the only ones who show up. I read each line like it was a courtroom transcript. Then I wrote. I've paid your rent. Your bills. Your internet. Your ribs. Your gas. Your groceries. I've done it quietly for over a year. This isn't a crisis. It's a boundary. Then I hit leave group. Silence. It was glorious. That weekend, I opened my email and wrote a letter to my landlord. Just a small thing. Thanking him for working with me after those late payments last year. Confirming my autopay was active and on time. He replied 20 minutes later. Always a pleasure. We need more tenants like you. I stared at that line. We need more tenants like you. The world outside my family didn't call me useless. It called me reliable, professional, responsible, seen. I walked to the fridge and made a sandwich. Not rice. Not cereal with water. A real sandwich. Turkey, avocado, toasted bread, even the fancy mustard. I ate like I deserved it. Because I did. That same day, Jenna called me 3 times in a row. I ignored every ring. She left a voicemail. If Mom gets evicted, it's your fault. Don't act like you weren't their safety net. That was the deal. And there it was. The deal. The silent contract they thought I had signed. We treat you like crap. You pay anyway. Because we're family. That was the script. And I had ripped it in half. On Sunday, I drove to the ocean. Just sat there for 2 hours watching seagulls fight over bread like they were auditioning for a low-budget mob movie. I didn't think about rent. I didn't think about Jenna's nails or Dad's TV or Mom's casserole receipts. I thought about my apartment. My job. My steady boots by the door. I thought about how weird it was to miss people while also feeling better without them. Then I got a text. From Jenna. Just a screenshot of a GoFundMe page. Help my parents keep their home. In the description. Due to an unexpected betrayal by a family member, we are at risk of losing our apartment. The betrayal was me. I stared at it. Then I typed a donation. $1. 00. Under name I wrote. Useless son. Under comment. Glad to see you're finally asking someone else. Then I closed my phone. Drove home. And fell asleep with the window open. The air smelled like something new. Not forgiveness. Not peace. Just space. And I finally had enough to stretch out in. I didn't check the GoFundMe again. Not out of spite. Out of preservation. Some things, once you know them, don't need refreshing. The narrative was clear. I was the villain now. The selfish one. The cold one. The ATM with a vendetta. And I knew better than to argue with a story people had already decided was true. Let them tell it. I had my own version now, one where I didn't disappear every time someone else had a bad month. Day 14 without contact. 2 weeks exactly. The air in my apartment felt still in a way that made me notice things I'd ignored for years. The soft click of the thermostat. The way the plant I named, later, leaned slightly toward the window like it had finally picked a side. That morning, I made coffee and read the news. Like a person. No guilt hangover. No. Just one more wire transfer. No surprise bills. Just coffee and silence. At work, Pete the doorman offered me his extra sandwich. You look lighter, he said, handing over a wax paper bundle. Turkey and cheese. I think I am, I said. Then I told him. The whole thing. Not every receipt, not every call, but enough. The useless comment. The years of quiet sacrifice. The folder. The pie. He nodded through most of it. Said, Yup. Had a brother like that. Lived in my basement for 3 years. Told people he was between jobs. The only thing he was between was my fridge and my wallet. We laughed. A real laugh. And it hit me. This wasn't unique. This wasn't tragic. This was common. Quiet kids become quiet givers. And quiet givers become convenient providers. And the minute we start speaking, the whole system short-circuits. Because when the bank talks, people panic. Day 16. A new number texted me, unknown, but local. Hey. It's Jenna. New number. My old phone got cut off. Can we talk? I waited 3 hours to respond. Not out of pettiness. Out of control. Sure. But I'm not sending money. If that's what this is about, save us both the time. She replied almost immediately. It's not. I promise. Can we just talk? I said yes. Gave her a time and place, the diner near my building. Neutral ground. No memories. No Christmas fights in that booth. No passive-aggressive birthdays. She showed up late. Hair tied back. No nails. No designer bag. Just Jenna. The version of her I hadn't seen since before hashtags and monthly emergencies. She sat across from me and ordered tea. Didn't even open the menu. Okay, she said, blowing on the mug. I get it now. Get what? I asked. She looked down. What it means to not be able to fix everything with a text. I didn't speak. Let her fill the silence. She did. I've been trying to apply for jobs. Like real ones. Full-time. I had no idea how much stuff costs. Mom said you always made it look easy. I just thought you didn't mind. I didn't mind helping, I said. I minded being erased. She winced. Stirred her tea. They miss you. Do they miss me or the money? Both, she admitted. But also the way you made everything seem like it was going to be okay. We're not good at that. I took a sip of coffee. It's not your job to fix Mom, she said. Or Dad. Or me. I get that now. I just wish you hadn't dropped it all at once. I had to, I said. I was drowning, and no one noticed. Or if they did, they were too busy asking for one more favor. We were quiet for a long time. Then she pulled a notebook from her bag. Cheap spiral bound. She pushed it toward me. Budget sheets. Columns. Handwritten expenses. Highlighted items. Bus pass. Food. Minimum payments. It's not much, she said. But I'm trying. Not for Instagram. Just for me. I flipped through the pages. Some crossed out. Some rewritten. It was messy. It was real. You want feedback? I asked. She smiled. Only if it's brutal. We spent an hour working through it. I showed her where she could cut better. How to avoid payday loan traps. The best bus pass strategy. She took notes. Jenna took notes. When we stood to leave, she hugged me. Real hug. Nothing performative. I still think you're dramatic, she whispered. I am, I said. It just took me 32 years to earn it. She laughed. We didn't fix everything. But we cracked something open. That night, I got home and looked at the pie dish again. I still hadn't thrown it out. But I washed it. Dried it. Put it away like a person who'd made peace with what it was, not a peace offering, not a symbol. Just glass. And a memory. Day 18, Mom called. Just once. No voicemail. Day 19, she texted. We talked to the landlord. Got an extension. Your father might take a job at the hardware store. I sold the sideboard. No ask. No manipulation. Just a report. I didn't reply right away. But I did later. 2 words. Good start. Day 20, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. No stamp. Someone dropped it off. Mom's handwriting. Inside, 1 page. Neat. No guilt. Just this. You made your point. We don't like how you did it. But we needed it. We're not proud. But we're working on it. I miss you. Not the money. You. Love, Mom. No emotional ambush. No secret request folded inside. Just a sentence I could believe. I put the letter in the folder. The same one I used to carry the receipts. Like I was making space for a new kind of record. That weekend I did laundry. Paid my bills. Sat in a clean apartment. And I said out loud, to no one in particular. I'm not useless. Just to hear it in my own voice. It didn't echo. It landed.